yeah.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello. Welcome everybody back to Blame Your Brother, episode 249. We are back once again to talk to you for the next hour or so. A lot of things to discuss tonight. Obviously, Norm MacDonald passed away. We'll have a lot of thoughts on that. The MET Gala happened, and then we're doing the Mount Rushmore of NFL team names. Should be a good list. We'll see who has the best names, and we'll go through all the reasons for that because NFL season's here, so we might talk a little football. We shall see, but we are streaming the show tonight on Wednesday. Maybe not a largest crowd will show up, but hey, if you're here hanging out with us, we appreciate it, and you can come check out our shows Thursday nights most of the time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time if you want to do that on YouTube. We are Blame Your Brother. I'm one half of the duo. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, Voice of People, Glenn Jackson, the 40%er, the Spiritual Midget, Mr. Wonderful. This gentleman sitting over here on my left, it's John.
Hey everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Group, Mr. PTI, the Madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman.
They do have madman.
Okay, he's a madman.
All right, so David and John, we're going to be coming at you, so hopefully you are ready to be entertained. We'll see. So, all right, well, let's just jump into it. Well, I want to say last week we did the Mount Rushmore of Leonardo DiCaprio movies. People thoroughly enjoyed it. We had some comments on it. A lot of people thought we should have definitely included What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And then we had a couple of Basketball Diaries and, you know, In This Boy's Life. And I did feel kind of bad leaving those. I really, looking back, I probably should have put Gilbert Grape on the list because that's my first, like, movie I remember seeing him in where I was like, oh, this guy, he's got the goods. But, you know, you run out of room. You only got 4 spots, but people liked it. So everyone was pretty happy with the list. He's a very famous, beloved actor, so everyone loved that. And the Michael K. Williams post we put on Instagram blew up. People love Omar from The Wire. So there you go. Any of those topics interest you, check out last week's episode. You can do that at bybpod.com. But this is 249, so we're going to move on. All right, so John, I pulled up in your driveway tonight. Brand new car in the driveway. So you finally got your new car.
Finally got a car.
And for the recap, John was involved in a vehicle accident. Some guy hit him, 4 weeks ago now? A month ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that?
5 weeks ago.
Wow.
It was on August 2nd.
There you go. So you happy with the car you got? Everything going good?
Yeah. We got for those interested, we got a 2019 Hyundai Tucson.
All right.
So
looks nice. A little SUV, a little family car. So good. Because, if you only have one car in a family household, that's rough. Honestly, we take it for granted, just, cars and getting around town, how important it is. And when something happens like that, when you're involved in an accident and you don't even control it, it's not fun. It's terrible. So I'm glad you got that situated. Anything else going on this week with you? Is that that's the major milestone?
That's the major thing. Yeah.
All right. Well, my daughter, the reason we're recording tonight is my daughter's birthday is tomorrow. She's turning 3 years old, so it's been 3 years. Time flies, for sure. But yeah, she's turning 3 tomorrow, and then this weekend we're going to have a party for her. I think John's going to show up, some other people. So should be a good time, but that's the major thing going on this week. And that, life just kind of falls back into place. We usually, at work now, we're getting in the situation. My wife's work, my work, COVID's just, it's kind of spreading all over the place slowly. My supervisor, she had it, so she was out for 2 weeks because then her husband got it. And it's just something we're gonna have to deal with moving forward. The Titans played this Sunday and they lost, and they sucked. I mean, there's no other way to put it. If you're a Titans fan or if you're an NFL fan, the Titans just did not do good on their opening game. But I'm more concerned about the fact that the place was slam packed, right? There was 7,000 fans there. And from what I was reading on social media, because I like to follow Twitter for game day, I say I'm kind of done with Twitter, but Twitter's still good for games, wrestling, TV shows, big news events. It's still good to go in there and check it out. And I saw, and every once in a while, just for punishment's sake, I don't know why, I go look at Clay Travis's Twitter account, And if you don't know who Clay Travis is, he's a right-wing radio host. He used to be a sports guy, and then he's a right-wing guy who is the fill-in for Rush Limbaugh. And he tweeted out pretty much, "I'm here, I don't see any mask, and I love it. This should be the way it is from here on out." And just statements like that are just, they're almost criminal in my mind.
I've said it before, I just don't understand. Okay, you're not wearing a mask. That's you.
Right.
Why are you upset if somebody else is wearing one?
I don't know.
I really don't get it.
I don't either. And just with 60, look, I mean, I'm just going to be honest.
If someone's wearing a mask and they don't have a gun on you,
right,
you shouldn't be upset.
But it's a rallying cry now, and I'm just concerned. It'll be curious and interesting to see how many COVID cases go up in the next week, because 67,000 people. I mean, man, if 10% of the people there had COVID in some degree, that's a big number to spread around. If it's 1% of the people at the game spread it around, that's still going to exponentially go up.
Almost 1,000 people.
So I don't know. Hopefully not. I hope everyone stays healthy. I really do. I hope everyone's getting through all this. It's just frustrating. I know we talk about it all the week, but I just want to touch on that. Just, I'm sure if you're working somewhere, it's a continuing problem, and I'm just hoping as we move forward, you're starting to see now federal government employees are required to be vaccinated, airline employees, and it's starting to spread now that the Predators announced for the upcoming season, our NHL hockey team here has said if you want to come in the game, you either have to have proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test within 48 hours. And, I got on Instagram, checked that out, and some of the fans were not happy. Of course, we're in the South. Of course they're not happy.
I mean, it's indoors.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing. You really need to.
Right.
I mean, I don't agree with the Titans not having that same rule.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you have a mass grouping of anybody that where you can't enforce social distancing.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, that it should be a rule. But at least it's outside.
Right.
To me, it's no way, shape, or form makes up for it, but at least it's outside.
Right.
Those hockey games are indoors.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just weird. Like I say, it's just strange times, and the more conspiracy theories come out, it's just bizarre. But we'll move past that. Unfortunately, not into happier times, but we definitely have to talk about the death of the week. Norm MacDonald passed away this week. He same age as my father, born the same year. I did not know that, but he was born in 1959. He passed away this week after it was revealed, and I was not aware of this, and many people weren't. He had been battling cancer for like 10 years.
Yeah. I'm a huge Norm MacDonald fan.
Yeah, I mean,
and I had no clue.
No one did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's crazy. So, let's talk about Norm MacDonald real quick. Now, most people know him from Saturday Night Live, obviously. I mean, Weekend Update. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
I've watched clips all week of the O.J. Simpson jokes. They always crack me up. He was in the movie Dirty Work, which is a cult classic. I mean, 100%. Great movie. Had his own television show, sitcom, Norm Show, for 3 seasons. That's pretty respectable. And then what of course, I love the SNL stuff, the Jeopardy stuff. I'll let you reflect on all the stuff. But his appearances on Conan O'Brien were just...
Those are magic.
They're the best. And my favorite moment, I'll go with mine. And, I mean, there's so many.
I hope it's not the same one you're going to pick, but...
Is it the Carrot Top one?
Yeah.
Oh, that is one of those.
With Courtney Thorne Smith.
So Courtney Thorne Smith is
after...
Yes.
My wife wasn't really getting how much this affected me.
Okay. Wow. Here we go.
She wasn't really getting it. I made her watch that clip.
Oh, I made everybody at work watch it today, and we were cracking. So Courtney Thorne Smith is in a movie with Carrot Top, and she's there to. So it's Conan. It's Courtney Thorne Smith, who she's been on shows. She was on Melrose Place.
Melrose Place is probably her biggest claim to fame.
She was on some show with one of the Belushis or something.
Jim Belushi, according to Jim.
Yeah, according to Jim. She was on that. But people know her. You recognize her face. And she's on there to promote it. And generally when Norm MacDonald went on the Conan O'Brien show, he would sit in the second chair, and then Andy Richter would be in the third chair. And he would just, it was just hilarious. And so she's on there, and she's like, yeah, I'm in a movie with Carrot Top. And Conan's like, what's it called? And Norm has to.
He just busts in. He's like, well, if Carrot Top's in it, it must be called box office poison.
And she is dying of laughter. And it can't be good. Like, if you're there to promote a movie, John, and I'm sitting in the second chair, like, lambasting your movie, I mean, the two ways you can go with it. You can laugh about it, or you can be probably upset about it, right? I mean, a lot of people would have been like, dude, what are you doing? But if you're in a Carrot Top movie, you know what you're getting into, right?
Yeah.
But the end stinger, which is funny because I hadn't seen this in a long time, and I'm not saying I'm a comedic genius, but the minute I knew this movie, I've seen this movie. I worked at Blockbuster Video. I was very familiar with Chairman of the Board. I was very familiar with this Carrot Top movie. I've seen it, and it's about as bad as you think it would be. But when she revealed, she said at first it didn't have a name, but then at the end of the interview, when it's wrapping up, she says
every time she said something, and just the whole interview, he would have some comment.
Oh, of course.
And so she's like, so Conan's like, okay, what's the name of the movie? And she said, Chairman of the Board. And Conan says, all right, do something with that, freak.
Right. And even in my head, I went, this dude's gonna say. Which he said. He goes,
same thing with me first time I saw it.
He goes, is it spelled B-O-R-E-D? I lost it. What a great stinger. And they lost it. Like, she lost it. He lost it. Conan was about to run out. He was laughing so much. And what a he was great at moments like that. He told one joke on Conan. It was about a moth going to a podiatrist. And
he loved those long, convoluted jokes. And he's brilliant.
Yeah. So what are some of your moments that stand out?
I love when he told just a really raunchy joke, and then he would explain it right away. Everybody got it. Right. Even in that same Courtney Thorne Smith one, he said she made a joke that she made out with Carrot Top in the movie a lot. Right. She said it's like 9.5 weeks supposed with Carrot Top, and he said, but I bet it was called 9.5 seconds. And then they start laughing. He goes, because I preach.
Yes. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
But and he did that a lot. Sometimes he would do this thing where he'd tell jokes like he was in the 1950s. Mm-hmm. Almost like a carny.
Yes. Well, his most famous one of that was when he did a roast for
Bob Saget. He's actually, they're very close friends too. So
he was on. If you're familiar with Norm MacDonald, then good. But if not, Mark Maron, WTF podcast, one of the best podcasts there is. He just reposted an interview he did several years ago with him, and I re-listened to it today, and it's such a great interview. So even if you don't if this is the only podcast you listen to, it's worth checking it out. It's called WTF. Just go check it out. It's the latest feed. When someone passes away, he always posts an interview if he had one with him. And he was telling the story about that. He said, Bob Saget was a friend of mine, so I didn't even really want to be there. I don't like roast. I don't like really tearing people down. And so he started just telling these. He said he had found an old joke book his dad had given him, and they were just the corniest jokes. And so he told those jokes, and you could see the crowd was like, what is happening right now? But then once they got it, they were in it, He also had a great moment when he hosted. Weird that he hosted the ESPYs one year.
The ESPYs. And man, he's actually really big into sports.
Oh yeah. Well, he was a gambler, bad. Yeah. Lost everything he owned several times. And he talks about it in the interview. But dude, his joke, two of the best jokes of the ESPYs. The first one was he was talking about the Denver Nuggets. And he said, the Denver Nuggets, they're really bad this year. They're filming a movie about the season. And the tentative title is called Black Men Also Can't Jump. And I was like, that's a great joke. And then then he looked at Charles Woodson was a college player who won the
take that away from you.
Yeah, he was the Heisman winner. He goes, Charles Woodson, you did great. You won the Heisman, and no one can take that away from you unless you kill your wife and a random waiter. And man, the crowd lost it. His O.J. Simpson jokes on SNL were great. Now, for a long time, it was believed that's why he was let go from SNL, but it turns out he marched to the beat of his own drum. He was not he just did not go along with the flow, and they didn't like that. They want to control people, but you can just, man, there's so many clips you can watch. They're everywhere. I'm on TikTok, every other video is a Norm MacDonald, and they're all different. They're all great. And he was truly a comedian that comedians loved. you watch all these clips, these comedians, like Dave Letterman thought he was like the funniest guy ever. Like I think his last show, David Letterman's last show, he did stand up and was in tears almost.
It was the only time I really saw, and like I said, I'm a huge Norm MacDonald fan, and like that last appearance when he was on David Letterman, he actually told David Letterman, he said, "I love you."
Right.
And that was like the very first and only time I really saw an edge of
like emotion. Yeah. Because he was an emotional guy. Even by his own admission, he would say he's not a very emotional guy. But he was a very intelligent man as well. He graduated high school at like 14, and people said he was one of the smartest people they'd ever met. And if you've been around people like that, it's very amazing to be in a room with someone like that. Someone very smart that's just quick and smart and funny and
I love people like that play stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, other people I'm huge fans of. Conan O'Brien. He went to Harvard,
right.
And they play the fool.
Right.
Whereas the people who are on the opposite side of that coin, I generally can't stand. You're Bill Maher's.
Really? Okay.
Where they're
the smartest guy in the room.
They're the smartest guy. They
Right.
have to be the smartest guy. And the thing is like, it's harder to enjoy being around someone who is the smartest guy and constantly reminds you.
No, I agree. Yes.
And so
I agree.
And Norm's when he was on Larry King, he kind of described that. He's like, I mean, if you really want to be enjoyed, you can't be the smartest guy in the room.
Right. No, it's infuriating. I work with a bunch of people, engineers, that believe they're the smartest people in the room, and some of them are just they're a bore to be around. Honestly, you just don't want to be around them. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, years ago, I was probably guilty of that in a bad way. I mean, I admit I'm growing as a person every year I pass by, and yeah, it's tough to be around people like that. But he will be missed. I mean, a huge hole in comedy, and the only thing that comes out of it is at least he's not suffering anymore. I mean, I cannot imagine going through 10 years of cancer like
and
that.
And not saying anything.
Right. I guess just his closest friends and family knew. So we love Norm MacDonald, gonna miss the guy. I'm gonna go rewatch Dirty Work this weekend, 100%. And
I don't think I've ever cried over celebrity.
Did you?
It was like a gut punch.
Okay. Wow.
It really felt like somebody just punched me.
Okay.
I
haven't got there yet, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I was just like, wow, I was shocked. Like, my wife texted me, goes, "Did you hear Norm MacDonald died?" And I was like, what?
That's how I found out. My wife texted me.
So, well, rest in peace, Norm. I mean, you will be missed, and I would just tell people, just go watch some clips of the guy. You will be thoroughly entertained for sure. All right, let's go to, now we're going to talk about COVID real quick again. So, Nicki Minaj, we all know who that is. Very famous pop star, very opinionated, very outspoken. Well, she made a decision this week that she will not be attending some award show. I don't even know what the award show is, but basically because they have a vaccination policy. They've said, if you're not vaccinated, you can't come to this event. And she came out and said that she is not vaccinated. She's been doing research. That's my favorite thing. Everyone does research. And this is just kind of a weird story, but she said a friend of hers or a cousin in Trinidad got the vaccination. He became impotent and his testicles swelled up. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, are people are just making this stuff up now? And I'm done. I'm done, like, even entertaining it. I don't even really, like, if someone tells me that in real life, I'm just going to walk away and just go, there's nothing I can do right now to prove you this didn't happen. I mean, it obviously did not happen, because right after she tweeted that out, several scientific medical experts came out and said, no, there's been no cases reported of this. This has not happened. This is not true. Okay. And this is
I mean, if it is, it has nothing to do with the vaccine.
Right.
It's probably who he was sleeping with.
Right. That could be true too. But this is, we're almost, we're running the race, right? And 70% of the population or something like that is getting vaccinated, which is great. That's great news. But the problem when celebrities say things like these, like if Joe Blow on his conservative talk radio show says it, it's only held to that small group of people. It's an echo chamber of just idiots that just want to hear, tell me what I already know where I can believe it's true. I mean, that's kind of social media in a nutshell. When someone like her comes out and says this, she has a lot of young fans that are probably uneducated about, as we all were as teenagers, uneducated about science, uneducated about medicine, uneducated about the world. They're going to hear this, and when it's time for them to get vaccinated, with a lot of them probably can't even get vaccinated at this point, because she has fans from 5 up until 95. I mean, she has a lot of fans, and a lot of those people are going to believe that this is true, and this is deadly to me. And I've started to think there's got to be at some point some repercussions to people, A, spreading misinformation like this, and B, spreading the virus. And I've thought about this scenario. Imagine your family is vaccinated and you work with someone that's not vaccinated, which I do. Imagine you're around that person because you have to be. You have no choice, right? They're not wearing their mask, which several people I work with are not wearing. It's mandated to wear them, and they don't wear them. Let's say they give you, you're in a meeting with them, and they give you COVID, okay? So now you're vaccinated, so odds are you're going to be all right. There's still a chance, it could be bad. But you take that home, and one of your children gets it and gets critically ill, and something really bad happens to them. Yeah. Say they pass away. There's going to be, at some point, there's going to be street justice on that. I mean, I believe that 100%. If somebody does this and one of their kids dies, someone's going to take the law into their own hands.
Well, the thing is like, I would not be surprised if, like, someone goes and starts coughing in people's faces.
Oh, it's been recorded.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these people do that when they're out in public. And like, the grocery store employee walks up to them and says, hey, you got to wear a mask. One lady started coughing on the employees, and she lost her job immediately. But yes, that is happening literally. Like, what kind of psycho are you? Like, I'm just wondering if this starts to happen, because now we're starting to see that it's being spread a lot through the schools. That's how my supervisor got it. I mean, because the kids aren't vaccinated. And fortunately for us, it's not, at this point, it's not incredibly deadly for kids. I mean, there's still a chance, and that's the scariest thought as a parent sometimes, is not the actuality of something happening. It's the thought of something happening, And I'm just thinking, these people, and I would just tell them, like, you're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life. Like, every day of your life, you will live with this decision you made. So I'm like, you wear the damn mask. If I would tell you to get back, but if you don't want to get back, wear your mask. Like, it's just reckless. And I think, like I said, people like her, it's almost worse than anyone else coming out and saying these things. I mean, like I said, there are fanatics, this, of pop stars, of famous people that will do anything they tell them to do. And if she says to them, basically, I'm not getting vaccinated because my cousin, who apparently got this weird condition out of it, they're going to be, wait a minute. Like, a dude, you tell that to a guy, like, you're like, hey, if you get this vaccination, you might be impotent for the rest of your life. I'm going to tell you, if that was the warning at the beginning of all this and it was credible, no, I wouldn't have gotten vaccinated. Yeah. 0% chance. So she's put that into the minds of all these people, and it's just, it's bad. So I shame on her. Social media went hard on her about it. They were not happy with it. So we'll see how that kind of affects her career. I mean, these things tend to come and go. You look at the Dixie Chicks, or the Chicks as they're called now, after the Bush comments, a lot of fans abandoned them, but were those really fans to begin with?
But the thing is like, with them, that's who they catered to.
Right.
Most of the people who are country music fans tend to be on the right side of things.
Correct, yeah.
The thing is like, most of the people who are anti-vaxxers are on the right side, and most of her fans are not.
Right. So I think...
So she's actually swaying people.
Right. Yeah, it's scary. That's a good thought. I didn't really think about that. So, all right, well, let's talk about another thing that's all the rage in pop culture this week. That is the MET Gala. The MET Gala. Now, John, do you know what the MET Gala is? Do you even know what it is? I really did. I kind of knew what it was.
I mean, I know they're raising money for something. It's pretty expensive to get tickets.
You're right.
People dress up and stuff, and it's always a big social event.
Right. So the MET Gala, I just took this off the internet, is a fashion industry's equivalent of the Oscars. Designers, models, and Hollywood stars, as I say, famous for being famous, gather to compete for media coverage. The event raises money for the Costume Institute, the only one of the Met's departments that has to fund itself. So it basically is for the outfits of whatever, costumes, events, and things like that. I mean, that's cool, whatever. Art needs money too.
Yeah.
I understand, we all want to give money to St. Jude, which is a great cause, right? We can't all give all the money to St. Jude. I mean, we wish we could, and we wish we could cure childhood cancer, but arts are just as important. If you look at me, like Girls Write Nashville here in Nashville is an institute that helps young ladies develop musical skills and abilities and knowledge, and they need money. And, Hollywood and music is important to pop culture. It's important to culture in general. So a lot of outfits came out of this, but we'll definitely want to talk about the one of AOC saying tax the rich. And this has upset the
rich.
It's upset the rich, and the conservatives are very upset about it. How dare she wear a dress that says tax the rich? Now, I don't know where you stand on it, but I look at it like this. If you think AOC paid for these tickets, I don't know if she did or not. I'm assuming these people...
I imagine most of the people who
are famous
are going to bring in people on name recognition don't have to pay.
Right, okay. So to me...
I mean, it's kind of like when we were in a band and when we played shows, if we were promising a club 500 people, they would pay us.
Yeah.
But if we weren't going to bring in people,
right,
we're paying. We're playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, Jen Star Cynic's in the chat. So she definitely is familiar with the girls right now. Hello, Jen. How you doing? Okay, so she wore this dress, and here's what I think about it. And I got into just a brief discussion with someone on Twitter who me and this guy, I'm sure we still get along, but I don't really associate with a lot of people that on the right so much anymore that are kind of crazy about it. He was like, oh, what's the deal here? Why is she wearing that dress? And I mean, my thing was, what is your problem with the dress, dude? Oh, she's rich. I wouldn't say AOC is like rich. I don't know what her net worth earnings are, but she's a politician. So she's not like Kim Kardashian or anything, right? And if she wants to make a message that says tax the rich, my first question to any conservative would be, are you against that message? Are you saying the rich shouldn't be taxed? I went on a diatribe after the show went off last week about how the rich are not taxed enough. It's obvious they're not taxed enough. They brag about it. It is a selling point to their richness, to their wealth, that they don't pay taxes. I mean, they flaunt this to people like, oh, I paid 0 taxes last year. Dude, you make like $1 billion. You should be ashamed of that. I would never admit to that. Like never. Like just hypothetically, me and you get invited to the MET Gala for free. I wouldn't go around telling people, like flaunting that. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, man, we got in here for free. I would just shut up about it, right? So they're very upset about it, saying, how dare she wear an event? But I think that's the ultimate subterfuge, is to go in there to an event for wealthy people and say tax the rich. And other people have gone through messages before like this. Isn't like a big thing, but AOC is a lightning rod, and I get it, and he said, basically the conversation was, oh yeah, man, why is she there among the rich? And I just said, well, didn't Jesus, because I knew he was a Christian, I said, didn't Jesus eat with the sinners all the time? Like, how are you going to spread your message once again to an echo chamber? You're not. You got to get out to people the opposite of you if you really want to send a message and make change. So she was one of the big ones but some other people, J-Lo was there. Kim Kardashian wore all black, I guess in honor of Kanye. He's doing that on Donda. So that was kind of an interesting thing. You had Lil Nas X in a suit of armor. You got Pete Davidson in a wacky outfit. You got Timothée Chalamet, who's, Hollywood's leading young man. And a bunch of people. You got Rihanna, you got Tessa Thompson, you got Megan I don't know, so the soccer player. So I just and then Sierra Wilson wearing the Seahawks inspired jersey. So I think it's kind of cool, man, just to see the different looks. I mean, if we're going to get upset about every time something wealthy happens, I mean, you go to an NFL game, those are millionaires on the field playing every day. Do you have a problem with that? No. I mean, yeah, they did have a problem with Colin Kaepernick, so I guess they did have a problem with it. But I don't know. What do you think about? I mean, about tax the rich? Are you should people really be upset about this? Am I crazy for thinking?
I don't think. I don't think. I mean, tax people. I mean,
right. I just say, if we're not willing to have a conversation about how the wealthy are taxed in this country, then the wealthy are doing exactly what they want done. They don't want you to talk about it.
Yeah, it's like that whole thing. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is making people believe that he never existed.
Right. Yeah. So and so it's a thing that society has kind of held up that you can't talk about your money. You should be ashamed if you're poor, which is kind of what society teaches. If you're poor, be ashamed about it. But it's we could do 2 hours worth of episode on the wealth in this country and how people stand and the reasons for where. I mean, it's just not a simple answer. Why are people poor? Because they want to be. Really? You think people want to be poor?
Wants to be poor. I
mean, but that's the right's ideology. They want to be poor. They don't get off their butts and work. The minimum wage is a joke at this point. People can't live on it. The whole point of the phrase minimum wage would be enough to live on, right? And I think, unfortunately, it's just a construct we live on where money is one of those taboo subjects a lot of people don't want to discuss. Yeah. Like, people don't discuss how much you make at your job. Like, why? I mean, dude, we're all here doing a job. I don't know. I used to obviously think a little bit different, but now I'm at the point where I'm like, you're getting older, you're seeing how the world really is, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, I had to touch on that. The outfits are amazing, though, always, and I'm sure they spend a lot of money, and I'm sure they're employing people to make these outfits, so they're feeding the economy one way or another. These outfits aren't cheap, and so it just makes. But anyways, I'm sure people either you know about it or you don't. So there we go. All right, so it's Wednesday tonight. I was not able to watch What If this week. Did you watch What If?
I did.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you run solo on this one. It's What If Killmonger had
saved Tony Stark.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with that, we've talked about What If. Disney Plus series. It's a Marvel franchise. Takes concepts, ideas, and says, what if this happened instead of that? So Killmonger was the villain played by Michael B. Jordan in Black Panther. Great performance. All-time villain, if you ask me. I mean, one of the more complex villains, actually. I mean, because part of what his message was like, I mean, he's kind of right on something. Obviously, the villains are always wrong on something. Even with Thanos, always said, I mean, the theory about what he was doing was okay, but I think that the execution was
that bad choice of words.
Yeah, definitely execution was definitely wrong. But okay, so this week it's What If Killmonger of the Black Panther had found Iron Man and saved him. Okay, so what were your thoughts on this episode of What If? Weaker ones, stronger ones?
It was a stronger episode. It
really?
Was, very good.
Who can we expect? I don't want you to spoil it all, but I'll just ask, is Black Panther making an appearance?
He does.
Okay, cool. All right. And so is it Iron Man heavy or is it Killmonger heavy?
It's Killmonger heavy.
Oh, okay. And is it Michael B. Jordan doing the voice?
Michael B. Jordan is definitely doing the voice.
Okay.
Robert Downey Jr. was not.
Right. Yeah, he's kind of bowed out, right? Because Tom Holland didn't do the voice of Spider-Man either.
He had a lot of other projects he was working on.
Right. I understand it. I mean, it's a voice, man. It's fine, right? I mean,
it sounded like Pepper Potts was actually Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, she probably don't have a whole lot going on, too. Yeah.
And it sounded like Letitia Wright sounded like Siri.
Okay.
So
I mean, is it like your favorite one or just no? What is your favorite one at this point?
My favorite one is still the Star-Lord episode.
Okay, it's a good one.
This one,
top 3.
Very interesting. It's not as entertaining.
Okay.
But it's very good.
Okay.
I kind of rank it with the same way I talk about like Shawshank Redemption. I think Shawshank Redemption is probably one of the greatest movies ever.
Yeah, it's great. I'll give you. It's definitely in the top
but
list.
To me, I wouldn't really say it's entertaining.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like it's not Marvel entertaining. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
And so this episode is a great episode. It's a really good episode.
Okay.
But it's not entertaining.
Okay.
But it keeps you guessing. You're like, what's going to happen next?
Okay. Well, that's all I want of a What If. I love the ones where I'm like, what's going to happen? Like, that's what I said. The Captain America one was all right.
All over this then.
But, okay. Well, I can't wait to watch. I will be watching it after we record this and I go home. I cannot wait. So, okay. So another thumbs up for them.
Oh, yeah.
The trailer for Hawkeye came out this week. Have you watched it?
I watched it.
Thoughts?
I'm a big Haley Steinfeld fan. I think
Who is Haley Steinfeld? I don't know who this person is.
Her big break was the True Grit remake.
I've seen it. Okay.
That was her.
Okay.
It just seems like everything she's been in has been pretty good.
I mean, that's what I'm hearing. I'm like, Haley Stanton. I'm like, I'm old, obviously. I mean, I know who she is. I didn't know she had such a following. Look, I'm just going to say this. I'm not super excited about Hawkeye. I don't know. Maybe they always surprise me, right? Like, continually, I'm like, I don't know if I'm good. I don't know if Black Widow's going to be any good. I don't know if What If's going to be good. And they are. I mean, they've figured out a formula to be very entertaining and very good. But that being said, I'm not going to rush to watch that one every week. That may be one where I'm like, let me just, when everything else is kind of tapped out, let me check out Hawkeye. Something about Jeremy Renner just not. I used to love Jeremy Renner, and then I heard interviews. There was an entire podcast about his app he made, the Jeremy Renner app, and he seems like a bit of a tool, truthfully. And once you know that, I'm like, oh God, man, I used to The Town. What was the bomb movie he was in? I can't remember. God, it's the one where he pretty much came into fame. I can't remember now. What's it called? It's not Zero Dark 30. It's the one before that. I mean, he's like a ammunition. He's a explosive ordnance. Hurt Locker. Yeah, he was great in Hurt Locker. I mean, fantastic in it. But I don't know, man. We'll see. It comes out in just a couple months, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Check out that trailer if you haven't seen it. So, all right. Well, let's get to it, John. NFL season is upon us, and we're going to ask the big questions on this episode. We're going to say not who are the best teams. We could have went with best jerseys, which maybe we will do that in the future because I definitely have some strong opinions about that. We're going with team names. What are the coolest team names of the NFL? Do you have any structure to how you did this, or did you literally just look at a list and go, "I like that name"? Did it have to work for the city, or you just like the name?
Most of my choices work with the city.
Okay, all right. Okay, I kind of just pick. I looked at that and then I kind of just picked, what sounds cool. Like what I think Titans is a terrible name. I'm not a fan. I don't think it's the worst NFL team name, especially when you came from the Oilers. That logo was sick, man. That was one of the great logos that got, and I understand Oilers don't work for Tennessee. But I mean, I could point that out about a couple franchises that changed. I mean, did the Rams really work for certain areas? I mean, whatever. But I just kind of looked at what was cool, maybe factored in a little bit of where it's from. But I believe I go first this week, right?
You do.
All right, well, I'm just going to go with the one, not necessarily the biggest fan of this team. Never really been a big fan. But there's something about now. They're called the Oakland Raiders. I just love the Raiders.
That's the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, Las Vegas Raiders. You're right. Wow, correction on that. Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders. I just love the way when sportscasters say it correctly, it just sounds like it's menacing, right? I mean, their fan section actually just adopted this like Raider. Like these dudes are going to kill you, man. You go inside the black hole, what their fans are called, you're a dead man walking. I like I said, I don't think the logo's that cool, but I just like Raider. It's a team that's coming to kick your butt, right? And they're not taking any prisoners. And they've played into that role over the years. I mean, they've been kind of bad boys for a long time. And I just like the way I just like the phonetic sounding of it. You can't go wrong with a hard R a lot of times. So I'm going to go Raiders as my first pick. So there we go. Las Vegas. That's going to take some getting used to. Las Vegas Raiders. All right, John. Who's your number one? The Titans.
I love America. I'm a big.
That's a good one.
I'm a Patriot fan.
That's a good one.
As far as being a Patriot.
Yeah.
And considering where it is.
Yep.
I mean, we made. I mean, even when we were in high school, we talked about the Sons of Liberty and that kind of history, and that was something that we really liked a lot. And so, I mean, the Patriots, yeah.
New England Patriots. It was probably going to be my second one if you didn't grab it. But, yeah, Patriots is a fantastic name. And, yeah, it's cemented, especially for New England. It's great for New England, and it is a great name. People love getting behind. Now, the unfortunate thing about the Patriots is that a lot of people hate them now, but the name is a fantastic one. How no one else ever grabbed that name. It's not really used in any other sport, which is kind of crazy. Either is the Raiders either. So I guess like the Bears or the Cubs or whatever. I mean, that's used across multiple places, but like I said, Patriots, the Raiders, those are unique, And I definitely love the Patriots. And the old school logo of the Patriots, it doesn't get any better than that. That's one of my favorite logos of all time. The old Revolutionary War soldier, hiking the football. But yeah, Patriots, that's a fantastic name. So, okay, I'll give you that one. That's a good one. All right, so Patriots is your number 2. All right, your number 1. My number 2, I'm going to also stay in this same area where the Raiders are from, but I don't really know what it has to do with where they're at. I believe they are Los Angeles now. You're going to have to correct me on this stuff because I'm getting old. The Chargers. I love the freaking name, the Chargers.
That's on my list.
Do you know the history of it?
I do know the history of it.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with electricity.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with that. It's because the guy that bought the team, Baron Hilton.
Okay. Look at John.
The son of the, the Hilton hotel chains.
Okay. I did not know this.
He's the owner of the team. When he bought the team, he was a fan of hearing the Dodgers play in L.A. and then the dun 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 charge.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that's where it's from.
Okay.
That's how
Wow.
He's like, they're Chargers. And if you actually think about, this is why I had to put it on my list after reading that, is because you're charging into battle.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's basically the name of the team. It's like, oh, that's cool. So
it's a cool sounding name. And when we do uniforms, your uniforms are my favorite without a doubt. They are the best. Those powder blue throwbacks, that should be their number 1 uniform.
I mean, the lightning strike is cool.
Yeah, it looks
add
cool.
on.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It's really
If we were doing logos, that would be up there for me. I love lightning bolts, man. I love TCB lightning. I just love them. So there's something about, like you said, charging into battle. It's just, I love strong names. Like like I said, Titans it's soft, man. It's just soft. As a Titans fan, I don't even think the design's that good. I look, man, the colors are all right. I'm glad they didn't. If they'd went orange and white, I probably wouldn't be a Titan fan. Just being honest with you, I would probably actively root against them. But that being said, I love the Chargers. I feel it's like a fantastic name. And once again, it's not something you see in any other sport. So yeah, I'm going Chargers, my number 2. All right, Johnny.
I'm gonna go down south.
Okay.
The city has a very rich Catholic following, and so they're going with that. So I'm going with New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, Saints is a good one. I think I had that one. Yeah, that's one of my choices as well. It's a pretty good name, man. It's I think it does capture that spirit of the city as well. But that name works because it's just, I don't know. There's something great about the term saint. I mean, it just implies that the holiness of the saints, and they have really adopted football as their religion, I would say, as far as fan bases go, obviously I would say there's probably more Cowboys fans than anyone, or there used to be, Raiders fans are pretty passionate, but the Saints fans are like, they've risen up the rankings.
I think I might have a couple more that might be a little more hardcore.
A little bit more hardcore, but their fans go out, man. Especially with all the turmoil that's happened in that city over the last few years. Hurricane Katrina, then another hurricane, and then just one thing after another. And they really grabbed on to the football team, and it was their identity. And they won a Super Bowl. And that's what's crazy about the Patriots. The year they won, I'm pretty sure it was 9/11, 2001.
It was.
Insane, dude. You couldn't
write that.
If you write that, you would look at me and go, that's too on point, man. We can't do that. Saints winning after like Katrina and all that, it's unbelievable. That's why people love sports, because these crazy moments happen and people are like, oh, that's crazy, man. How did that happen? But it did, and we're here, so there we go. Okay, that's your number 2. All right, for my number 2, I'm going to go, let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to go with, I like this name because I think it symbolizes the city. It really, it is what the city's about. Blue collar, grab your pail, get to work, Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, that,
on my list, yeah.
I don't know if I think about all the teams.
And I know you really hate that team.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Steelers or the Raiders, which is kind of weird, but what a great name.
Yeah.
Especially when it captures the city.
The nickname of Pittsburgh is the Steel City.
Right. And it's a working town, and it really just, you can get behind it. Like I said, sometimes in that marriage of the identity of the city and the team name come together, that rallies the fan base. Another passionate fan base for sure. I mean, my God, man, there's a lot of Steelers fans here in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Before we had a team, I think most people either like Cowboys or Steelers, where most people you would see, that was like some of the majority of fans. Like even when you still go to Titans games today, they play Steelers. It's like half and half, like Steelers fans. I mean, I work with a lot of Steelers fans, so.
I mean, if you've ever been to Pittsburgh in the fall, there's just this, it feels like a haze of grit.
Yeah.
Is over the entire city.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it just makes you feel like people who are workhorses.
Yeah.
And when you equate that to a sport, especially one as physical as football is, you want something that's driving and unrelenting and continuous.
100%.
And it really solidifies the team in the city.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So, good call, bro.
All right. Steelers my number 3. John, who is your number 3?
My number 3 is the People's Team. The Cheese People's Team.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not the coolest name, but it does represent the people, and it's.
Are you gonna say it?
Yes, it's the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, I was like, say it. I know who you're talking about. Somebody that hates sports right now is going, what? There's a team called the People's Team? That would be a pretty good name. But anyway, okay, so what is do you know the origin of the Packers?
I know that the actual city actually is the owner of the team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
And so it's for all the cheese packing plants. It's in Wisconsin. Okay. So, I mean, you can't get, when you mention cheese in the United States, that's the place you think of.
Yeah.
And so they've got all these cheese packing plants, and that's what they're cheese packers.
Okay.
And so
they definitely wear the cheese heads for sure.
Yeah, they wear the cheese heads.
Now that may be the most dedicated fan base. Now I think about it, because you own the team.
Yeah.
Like if you are a season ticket holder, you technically are a team owner.
Yeah.
That's the only team that does that.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, and it's hard to get tickets there, man. People have to die for you to get the tickets. So, yeah, I definitely would have. Yeah, I hate the Packers too. I didn't used to hate the Packers, and I hate Aaron Rodgers, so I hate the Packers. I do not root for them to win ever. I don't know, man. You're starting to see I hate a lot of teams. I guess they're on the list. Maybe I'm jealous of these teams. Like, hey, they all have cool names, man. Okay. Anything else about the Packers, John? Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right. So my last one, I'm going to go with that name I just think kind of is cool, that fits with the Buffalo Bills. I love the Buffalo Bills. I don't know why I love it. I just love the name of it, the bison charging up. And I just think, I love phonetic. I love things that go together. BB, Tennessee Titans, unfortunately, no. But I like Buffalo Bills. I think it just, I don't know. Were there a lot of Bills and bison up there? I have no idea, but to me, I just think it's a very cool name, and I always think of Steve or Chris Berman going, no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Oh man, I love that. Now, if I was not a Titans fan, I would probably be a hardcore Bills fan. I love their team. Their team is their fans are starting to rise up as one of the most dedicated fan bases. They actually do like wrestling things at their events. They all go through tables at the tailgates. They jump off like RVs up through tables and things like that. And they get little babies when they're born, and they get like a little box table, and they baptize their baby by breaking the wooden, like a little box. It breaks apart real easy. So I just love the Bills. Someone said the Oilers. I definitely would have picked it, but they're not current team. But yeah, my last one's the Bills. I love that name. All right, so you're down to your last one, John.
I am a history buff. I love history.
Okay.
And this name, if you don't know anything about history, you have no idea what the name represents.
Okay.
So I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers.
That I was either going to pick the Bills or the 49ers. Okay, so tell us about the 49ers.
The 49ers is named for the gold rush in 1849, when everybody rushed to California for this outpouring of gold that was coming out of nowhere. And their team colors kind of, that have the red and the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Even the old stadium, Candlestick Park, that just sounds cool.
Yeah. The 49ers is. So I would say before the Titans got here, you either were most people, Steelers, Cowboys, 49ers. When we went to school, there was a lot of people wearing 49ers because it looks fresh too, honestly. I mean, that gold, it looks pretty cool. And you're right, the historical tie-in to the 49ers, the gold rush, the just where we are today is a lot to do with that, and it is nice that they tied it into the region of that. So I like that one a lot. It's one of those, it's a different one. Once again, I mean, most of these, I think all of these, I don't think you're going to find anywhere else. I think these are all unique names to football, which I value. Like I say, anyone can pick a random animal. But, yeah, 49ers, that's a good pick. I would have been my other one if not for the Bills. So, all right, I will run back over our list real quick. I had the Raiders, the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Bills. John had the Patriots, the Saints, the Packers, and the 49ers. Now, we pretty much got all mine. I like the Vikings a lot. I like the Buccaneers, and kind of like the Colts. I don't know why I like the Colts. I think it just kind of sounds cool. It just sounds like an old school like football name anyway.
Well, it was.
Right. So, yeah, Baltimore Colts. That's right. Oh, you're neck of the woods. So, who else did you not get to that might have made the list in another universe?
I had the Chargers as well. I mean, I had all yours as well.
Titans is on there. I see it.
Yeah, I had the Titans on
there. You like
the
Titans?
I mean, I'm not a big fan of the animal ones, and that's a lot of them.
Okay, that's true.
And so you take away all the animal ones, and there's not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I did. I have the Cowboys at the bottom of my list. If I had to choose animal ones, I would have had the Eagles, just because it's in Philadelphia. It kind of represents freedom.
Cool. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
And the Ravens, because that was the birthplace of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's why the team is called the Ravens.
I hate the Ravens so much. I even if I like that name, there's no way they were going on the list. That's the team I hate the most. But, yeah. Now, the dumbest one, I think, I don't know what you think the dumbest name is, but the Texans is the dumbest name I think there is today.
Yeah.
The Houston Texans, like, really? Is that the best you've got, man?
I mean, there had to be something else you could come up with.
I kind of like the Jets. I don't really understand why they're the Jets, but it's a cool sounding name.
The Giants. I mean,
Giants is kind of cool
for the tall building.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that one as well. But I think the Texans, that's bad.
Yeah.
I think the Jaguars is kind of played out. That's kind of lame. I don't really know what it has to do with Jacksonville. I guess just because it started with a J. I mean,
probably.
Guys, you can do better than that.
I don't know what the Panthers have to do with.
I don't either. And those
Carolina.
teams came around at the same time. It's weird they came around at the same time. They're like, let's just both pick animals that are
cats.
Like, okay, man, whatever. I don't know what a better name could be for Tennessee. Unfortunately, I can't come up with a better name.
There's a lot of what Detroit has to do with
the Lions
and the Tigers.
Yeah, I don't know. Detroit. I don't know. It's a good question.
I mean,
I guess it just sounded cool, right?
I'm talking a lot. I mean, Baltimore's got two birds, but Atlanta's got two birds as well. They got the Hawks in basketball, and
yeah, it's true. I guess they just like
Falcons
the birds, man. They want to fly, man. They want to fly. Okay. Well, there we go. That is our list. I'm sure we will get sports fans. I'd love to hear what some of your favorite NFL team names are. And, hopefully you enjoy this season right now. Like I said, as Titans fans, we are not enjoying this season at all. But
it doesn't look like it's going to get any better.
No, but we'll see what happens. All right. Well, let's see. We still got a few minutes left. So I don't know if I talked about last week, but did I talk about the documentary on Apple Plus, 9/11 Inside the President's Room? I don't think I did. I think I watched it after the show.
We didn't talk about it.
Now, I just want to say, if you are old enough to remember 9/11, this is, or young enough not to ever remember it, this is a very fascinating documentary that I suggest people go watch if you can. I mean, it's very emotional. I'm not going to lie. I cried several times watching this. I'm not ashamed to admit that. It basically looks at 9/11 through the lens of the event, but it also talks to all the people in the president's room. Bush, Cheney, Condoleezza Rice. I mean, all the people that were there. It basically takes you step by step what happened. And it's been a while since 9/11 happened, obviously, and it just a tragedy, that one of the worst things that ever happened in America. But I don't know why, John, but I always get very emotional about Flight United 93.
I read the transcript of Todd Beamer, who was talking to I guess someone who worked for the airline, and then also she patched through to the guy from the FBI,
Mm-hmm.
and he was kind of like, okay, we got a plan.
Right.
We're doing this. But there was a moment where he was like, I need you to promise me that you'll call my wife. And
Man.
he's giving her, everything that he needs to tell him. And
It's crazy.
he's talking about his kids, and he had a kid on the way.
Yeah. No,
And his kids, he had 2 boys, one's 3, one's 1.
Can you? Because I start to imagine
Yeah.
myself in that situation.
Yeah, same here.
And you would like to think, yeah, man, I'm all on. Let's get these guys. Who knows, right? I mean, I guess if everyone's like, yo, we got to do this, you have to do it at some point. But there's a movie out about it, which I've never watched because I think it's just too much for me to watch.
I think there's been a couple of movies, but
United 93 is supposed to be, it's even critically acclaimed. I watched just a snippet of it, and I got emotional watching that, like just thinking about what these people had to do, knowing that when they went up there, they were going to die. Like, there's no pilot, like, you can't fly a plane. That's not something you just, hey, let me pick this up and see. So once you go up there, because that plane they believe was headed, initially they thought maybe the White House, but they had some transcripts from the Al-Qaeda and all that, and they think it was headed to the Capitol building.
Yeah,
they said
those were the 2 things that they were thinking.
They said there's no way we're going to make it to the White House, dude. We'll be shot down immediately, which if one would have hit the White House, that's a game changer forever. I mean, But I think just here, and I went to the 9/11 memorial at New York, and it's got the actual phone calls from these people, and it just, I had to leave. I mean, I was like crying like a baby because hearing these people telling their loved ones, like, this is it. I love you, and I got to go. But then the crazier story is one of Bush's cabinet members, his wife was on one of the planes, and she died. And in the documentary, like, that hit everyone the hardest because that was someone they actually knew.
They knew, yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to say, yeah, I'm upset that I don't know these people, but can you imagine, like, knowing the person, being friends with the person? I can't even imagine. But it is a really great look at it. Bush comes across as very, like, competent, and I know he gets a lot of crap over time for things he did, but I think on that day, I have no shame saying that I think he did as good of a job as any president could have done. I mean, he was very, and he's very honest in this interview. It's kind of refreshing to see, the honesty.
He was one of the few presidents that had one of the highest and lowest.
Yeah. It took a dip after. Yeah.
Back, as far as backing went.
Not like I said, I don't agree with all the stuff we did after that. I think it was misguided. That's my opinion. I don't have any national security. I don't know this, but in the moment, I think everyone stepped up, and it is a day that it's America at its worst moment, and then America at its greatest triumph of all bonding together. So I would just say, if you have Apple TV and you're ready to just get in there and take a really good look at it, it's very well done. It's very informative. It's about an hour and a half. 9/11 inside the president's war room. You definitely need to go check that out. It's fantastic. And we're always looking for something to watch. I would highly recommend that. But just get ready. It's going to get emotional. And I think sometimes it's good to watch documentaries and feel that emotion. I mean, we're watching What If, watching Disney. You're not crying during those things. Like, all right, whatever. But sometimes I need things that are really going to shake me emotionally. It's good to feel connected to a moment in history and see what happens. So that's my pick of the week if you need something to watch. So, all right, well, John, that's it, man. We come to the end of the episode. Hour flies by when you're having fun. But yeah, so, rest in peace, Norm MacDonald, though. I would just say my biggest thing, go watch a lot of his clips this week. Yeah. If you don't have friends that don't know anything about him, go share them with him.
I mean, yeah, just his, you're going to laugh.
Yeah, you'll laugh. And, and that's what he would have wanted. I think even his last moment was like, well, I'm dying. I read this somewhere. He said, I may have died today, but cancer died as well, so I call it a draw. I mean, what a way to go out. What a statement to go out with. It's just fantastic. So rest in peace, Norm, man. We're big fans. We'll miss you. And I'm going to watch Dirty Work this weekend and check all that out. But hey, if you need something to do this weekend, you can obviously listen to the latest episode, which you're doing right now, but you can go check out all of our past episodes as well. There's 249 of them. So have you talked to your friend who started at episode 1 yet?
He's like on episode 3. He's going very slow.
That's all right. I want to get, if he has any comments along the way, you got to share those with us, man, because I'm even reminded, like, it was a completely different show back then, completely different people. So it's just it's wild to just know that we're here now. So anyway, but you can go check all those out. You can go to bybpod.com. That is our website. That's where you can find all the information, all the episodes, all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, ways to email us, ways to subscribe to the show. And once again, holidays are coming up, John, right?
Yes, they are.
What do they need to do?
Buy your Halloween costumes and your Christmas decorations on Amazon. But go to bybpod.com first. Click on the Amazon affiliate link and help some brothers out.
Support the show. I mean, it doesn't even cost you anything extra. And you can help us out. Tell your friends to use the link. And, it helps us out for sure. So, yes, bybpod.com. Tell your friends about the show. Review, rate, all that fun stuff. And, John, with all that being said, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.
And that's the show.
Have you ever heard